Kalachakra Tantra. As Nathan Katz noted, there were Jews in the northwestern region of what is now China at least from the 8th century AD. 63 Pan Guangdan, aka Quinton Pan, a Chinese sociologist who specializes on the Jews, argued that a Jewish presence existed in Guangzhou, Canton, Ganpeo, and Hangzhou during the late Tang dynasty, or the 9th century AD, as well as medieval communities in Ningbo, Beijing, Quanzhou, Ningxia, Yangzhou, and Nanjing, and also in the famous community at Kaifeng, during medieval times. Tibet, then, suggests Katz, was virtually encircled with Jewish settlements, however small, in India, Kashmir, Turkestan, and China. It appears that Tibet at one time controlled a city, Khotan, a Jewish community, during the 8th century. 64. Katz further suggests that there seems to be a further religious link as well, between Jewish Messianism and the Tibetan Kalachakra system. The legend of Shambhala is derived from Kalachakra Tantra, one of many tantric teachings and esoteric practices in Tibetan Buddhism. According to the Khotan system of time calculation in the Kalachakra tradition, the Buddha is believed to have died about 833 BCE. 65 According to the Kalachakra Tantra, the Buddha taught the first Kalachakra root Tantra in Dharnikota, near modern Amaravathi in southeastern India, in the 5th century BC, supposedly bilocating, appearing in two places at once, at the same time as he was also delivering the Prajnaparamita Sutras at Giridraj Parvat in Bihar. Along with King Suchandra, 96 minor kings and emissaries from Shambhala were also said to have received the teachings. The Kalachakra thus passed directly to Shambhala, where it was held exclusively for hundreds of years. Tibetan Buddhism is part of the Vajrayana tradition, also known as secret mantra, or Buddhist Tantra, affirming the views espoused in the texts dating from around the 7th century AD onwards. 66 Tantra is a style of religious ritual and meditation recognized by scholars to have arisen in medieval India no later than the 5th century AD, after which, it influenced Hindu traditions and spread with Buddhism to East Asia and Southeast Asia. Essentially, the doctrines of Tantra preach a non-dualism, proposing a vision of reality as the self-expression of a single divine consciousness, and are characterized by rituals that propose the possibility of achieving heightened spirituality through the mundane, identifying the microcosm with the macrocosm. The tantric practitioner seeks to use prana, an energy that flows through the universe, including one's own body, to attain goals that may be spiritual, material, or both. Long training is generally required to master tantric methods, into which pupils are typically initiated by a guru. Yoga, including breathing techniques and postures, asana, is employed to subject the body to the control of the will. Mudras, or gestures, mantras, or syllables, words and phrases, mandalas, and yantras, symbolic diagrams of the forces at work in the universe, are all used as aids for meditation and for the achievement of spiritual and magical power. While taboo-breaking elements are symbolic for right-hand path tantra, dakshinachara, they are practiced literally by left-hand path tantra, vamachara. Vamachara is a mode of worship or sadhana, spiritual practice, that is considered heretical according to Vedic standards. Secret ritual may involve feasts of otherwise prohibited substances, sex, cemeteries, and defecation, urination and vomiting. Most important is the ritual sexual union known as maithana, mirroring the sacred marriage of Gnosticism, during which the man and the woman become divine. She is the goddess Shakti, and he the god Shiva. Tibetan Buddhism's complex cosmology is the basis for a superstitious and highly ritualized set of beliefs that evolved from an amalgam of Buddhism, Hindu Tantra, and the pre-Buddhist shamanistic religion of Bon. Bon then became an unorthodox form of Buddhism that arose in Tibet during the 10th and 11th centuries. 67 Tibetan culture is proliferated with a variety of spirits and demons that, according to the principles of apotropaic magic, must be propitiated by various rituals and offerings. As explained Lydia Aaron, such shamanic techniques are found in many societies, but Tibet is the only known literate society in which they form a central rather than marginal element. Therefore, according to Aaron, in Inventing Tibet. In shamanic Buddhism, the central figure is not a monk but the tantric lama, who need not be celibate or have formal monastic training but whose proficiency in ritual and yogic practice generates in him shamanic, i.e., magical power. The nexus between the pursuit of enlightenment by a small minority and the demand for shamanic services by the great majority is the hallmark of Tibetan Buddhism. 68. Tibetan Buddhism is also a form of Mahayana Buddhism, which was derived from what is known as Greco-Buddhism, which refers to the cultural amalgam of ancient Greek culture and Buddhism. 69. Greco-Buddhism developed between the 4th century BC and the 5th century AD in Bactria and the Indian subcontinent, corresponding to the territories of modern-day Tajikistan, Afghanistan, India, and Pakistan. It was a cultural consequence of a long chain of interactions begun by Greek forays into India from the time of Alexander the Great. Alexander had established several cities in Bactria, Aikhanum, Bagram, and an administration that was to last more than 2 centuries under the Seleucid Empire and the Greco-Bactrian Kingdom, the whole time in direct contact with Indian territory, and extended during the flourishing of the Greek-inspired Kushan Empire. The Macedonian satraps were then conquered by the Mauryan Empire, under the reign of Chandragupta Maurya. The Mauryan Emperor Ashoka would convert to Buddhism and spread the religious philosophy throughout his domain, as recorded in the Edicts of Ashoka. Following the collapse of the Mauryan Empire, Greco-Buddhism continued to flourish under the Greco-Bactrian Kingdom, Indo-Greek kingdoms, and Kushan Empire. The Greco-Bactrians maintained a strong Hellenistic culture at the door of India during the rule of the Maurya Empire in India, as exemplified by the archaeological site of Aikhanum, in northern Afghanistan. When the Maurya Empire was toppled by the Shunga Empire around 180 BC, the Greco-Bactrians expanded into India, where they established the Indo-Greek kingdom, under which Buddhism was able to flourish. Tibetan Buddhism teaches methods for achieving Buddhahood more quickly, by including in Mahayana the path of Vajrayana, where the physical practice of sexual yoga is considered necessary at the highest level for such attainment. Influenced by various heterogeneous elements and Hindu Tantra, Vajrayana came into existence in the 6th or 7th century AD. The Vajrayana was then followed by the new tantric cults of Sahajayana and Kalachakra. The Kalachakra, developed in the 10th century, is farthest removed from the earlier Buddhist traditions, and incorporates concepts of messianism and astrology not present elsewhere in Buddhist literature. In the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, it is claimed that the historical Buddha taught Tantra, but that since these were secret teachings, transmitted only from guru to disciple, they were generally written down long after his other teachings. However, historians argue that assigning these teachings to the historical Buddha is patently absurd. 70. In the highest magical initiations of the Kalachakra Tantra, what are known as unclean substances are employed, and involve the consumption of 5 types of meat, including human flesh, and the 5 nectars, such as blood, semen, and menses. 71. In the secret higher initiations of the Kalachakra Tantra, sexual magical rites take place, the aim of which is to transform sexuality into worldly and spiritual power. Rituals involve girls as young as 10, and may involve as many as 10 women at a time. 72.